around one big beautiful bill, and this is taking place right now, expected to last several more hours. Let's listen in here live now on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
You're the chairman of the committee. We're supposed to be voting on this bill in a few hours is what I understand. There's rumors of a manager's amendment or maybe a secondary manager's amendment, or they'll come up with some other way to describe a third manager's amendment. I'm not sure. There's a lot of reporting on it. Who would I go to talk to figure out what we're voting on later today as it relates to the state and local tax deduction?
I would say that's going to be the discussion of the Rules Committee when the manager's amendment is offered and debated. So you'll probably know before most members of Congress.
I hope so. We've been here for 8 hours, and we've yet to get any indication of that. And I'm not, this would apply to Chairman Guthrie as well. We've heard a lot about the IRA phase-outs. I don't know if you have anything to share with the group about where that stands?
That would be Ways and Means Committee jurisdiction, not Guthrie's. E&C doesn't have a lot of committee of jurisdiction.
Sure. Well, I'll let you two battle that out.
But from my understanding, the Ways and Means Committee, I have not seen any changes to the phase-outs or what we've had in regards to the IRA.
So what we have in the rules mark now, you believe, is what we'll be voting on this evening or
That's
whenever.
what I'm here testifying in regards to.
Okay, well, that's a different answer. But I can appreciate your position. I guess my point here, and I know I was hoping to ask Mr. Roy this question because I hadn't seen him the last 8 hours, but he appeared, well, yeah, apparently he's negotiating it. So maybe he can come in and he can give us some indication as to the answers on both of those fronts. Oh, I see. I guess Chip Roy's announced I'm a no, but I don't know that makes, anyway, we'll hear from him directly. Some questions.
All right, friends, good morning, everybody. Apparently, our screen here on the stream was in that black zone for a little bit. Little technical issue. It was not from the Live Impact studio, by the way. Just about 9:05 here. I'm Jane Monreal. You are watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. So as you transition through your morning, as we bring you live feeds, as the news, as it breaks, it comes in raw many times, unfiltered. Right now, the House committee has been here, getting together since about 1 o'clock this morning, trying to push President Trump's one big beautiful bill through. The president, of course, on Capitol Hill speaking to GOP lawmakers, trying to get those holdouts to move from their position and in favor of his agenda. So the folks here, the House Rules Committee has been in a meeting since about 1 o'clock this morning. This is what we are listening to live now on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Thanks for hanging with us.
Let me ask you, I guess the question I'm asking is, why not eliminate that sunset?
Well, my question back to you is, why would you not want those individuals to have access to greater opportunity, which only comes through being eligible under the SNAP title and the nutrition benefits, for the career and technical education, SNAP employment and career and technical education. The Farm Bill.
Why are you exempting them
about
if that's the case?
$1.1 trillion is what we put into the nutrition title, and a big part of that is the investment in greater opportunity through those educational benefits.
Okay, let me take a step back so I can just understand that. I guess what I'm trying to understand is the rationale for the exemption. You've exempted veterans, homeless youth, foster youth from these requirements until 2030. So hold on, let me finish. You've clearly decided that it's important to proceed with those exemptions until 2030. Otherwise, you would have said, we're just going to end the exemption now. So you believe it's important to do for the next few years. Why have you decided not to extend it further? Why is 2030 the year that you've decided that veterans should no longer be able to be exempted from these
That was
requirements?
a part of what quite frankly, my negotiations on that with the Fiscal Responsibility Act were with President Biden, and that was a
Sure, but you're not locked into that now. You all have abandoned most of the Fiscal Responsibility Act agreements.
That was a great negotiations. We both sides got some good provisions, But at the same time, even back then, I felt that it really was disrespectful to veterans, to, well, we'll just talk, you let off with veterans, to not have an opportunity to benefit from the investments that are there under this nutrition title for SNAP employment and career and technical education.
If you feel that way, why keep it? I don't understand. I guess you're saying we have this exemption, it's important for foster youth and for the homeless and for veterans, but also we believe that we shouldn't have this exemption, and so that's why we're comfortable with it ending in 2030.
Well, usually taking somebody off a cliff immediately is a really bad idea. We don't really do that with this bill. Even with the state share, we provide.
I agree with you about
year
describing it as a
2028
cliff and not an opportunity. I mean, that's exactly what my sort of point is,
So
right?
we look closely at poverty cliffs, and and I think taking folks off of that that 2030 expiration really will serve those the veterans population particularly, and I also think the youth coming off out of
Sure.
foster care.
How much money do you think it would cost, your team may have a better sense of this than I would, to extend that out to 2031 or to 2032? Do you all know what it costs per year for that exemption to have continued?
I'm not sure the CBO has provided it for. We don't.
I mean, are we talking tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars?
Well, we'd have to look back, you all would have to look back at the Fiscal Responsibility Act to see what the score was on
Okay.
that.
Here's why I ask. To me, it seems like really what we're getting at, right, is a question of priorities, resources, and values. And it would not take, I don't believe, a lot of resources, a lot of investment to be able to avoid that cliff hitting these veterans and these foster youth in 2030. Right? And let me give you an example, right? There's a simple way. Are you familiar with the tax on silencers? You're familiar with that?
I am.
Version of tax code. And you're aware that this bill repeals that tax.
That's correct.
All right. And that tax, do you know how much that's going to generate in terms of revenue over 10 years?
I don't, it wasn't in my
It's one-
jurisdiction, but
No, I understand. Let me tell you.
What I can tell you
It's
as a former
1.4
healthcare professional.
Let me finish. You said you don't know, so let me tell you.
These suppressors
I hear you.
are a healthcare major.
I understand. I hear you. So let me just explain it to you. Over 10 years, the Joint Committee on Taxation estimates that this particular repeal generate $1.4 billion. Think about that. Hold on. I'm not asking you a question, Mr. Chairman. 1.4.
Well, you did ask me a
I'm not
question
asking you a
originally
question
about
now. I'll give you an
veterans.
opportunity in a moment to
Question I
answer the
have for you,
question.
what do you have against
Mr.
veterans
Chairman,
being-
I will give you an
having an
opportunity to
opportunity
finish.
to climb
I'm not
a-
asking you a
run a little
question.
higher in the ladder of
Mr. Chairman, I'm not asking you a question. I'll
really good at
redirect
that.
it to the ranking member since I'm not asking you this
All right,
question.
just
Ranking
remember,
member.
it is the member of the committee's time, and.
Thank you, Mr.
so
Chairman.
We
So-
can't have the,
I will simply say this.
Back and forth.
And I'll address this towards the ranking member. $1.4 billion that will be generated by virtue of this repeal of the silencer tax. This is a tax that has been on the books since the mid-1930s, 100 years. That's during Republican administrations, Democratic administrations. I don't remember Republicans, or President Trump for that matter, trying to repeal this tax in 2017, when you all were pursuing this the first time around. And yet you've decided on this course to repeal this particular tax that would generate $1.4 billion in revenue. Just imagine, Ranking Member Craig, what you could do with that $1.4 billion to address the cliffs that the chairman of the Agriculture Committee had described with respect to veterans and foster youth. The poverty cliff, I think was the phrase that he used, that they will face under this bill in 4.5 years. Ranking Member, I'm happy to give you an opportunity.
Well, we could spend, we wouldn't have to cut, I suppose, or Republicans wouldn't have to cut food out of the mouths of hungry children, veterans, and our nation's seniors. What's happening in this committee is egregious. You just think about the revenue savings that you're cutting from a title of the Farm Bill. And I know I keep saying that, but I know my Republican colleagues across the aisle know that the nutrition title is part of the Farm Bill. And they know that these cuts, $313 billion to a title of the Farm Bill outside of a 12-title, 5-year process, is putting a Farm Bill in jeopardy. And my colleagues are coming after food. We talk about work. I wish Mr. Norman was still here. Nobody here is arguing
He's
against
done working.
work.
He left.
He left again. He's done working, apparently. Mr. Norman said, what do you get? Are you kidding me? We already have work requirements in SNAP. What we're doing is we're adding work requirements to single parents of 7-year-olds. Who thinks that's a good idea? It's egregious. And you talk about child care costs in this country, it's egregious where we are. And, you know, Mr. Norman, and I could give you examples for every single one of your districts, but I'm going to use his just because I had it open here. We're talking about 11% of the state population in South Carolina that he's going to cut. We're talking about $321 million a year to the taxpayers of South Carolina in additional cost shifts. We're talking about $1 billion a year to the state of Pennsylvania. These are real dollars if we move forward with these. And so I have no idea why we think it's a good idea to repeal a tax on silencers when we are going to feed fewer children in our country as a result of this. It's a moral damn failure is what it is, Congressman.
I couldn't say it any better. Ranking Member Craig, I think you articulated it well. And I guess it is just full circle in some ways, given that this was the last panel that we're going to hear from. But it makes a lot more sense in retrospect now why Republicans decided to proceed with this particular hearing in the dead of night. Because I think when you begin to see the full picture, it's only when you have the chair of the Ways and Means Committee to talk about the various priorities they are pursuing, repeals of taxes on silencers by way of example, and hear from the Agriculture Committee about the priorities they are pursuing, massive cuts to the social safety net, that you begin to understand the full picture holistically that is reflected in this bill. And I think that is ultimately what House Republicans did not want the American people to hear or to see. Regrettably for them, we're going to have an opportunity throughout the rest of today and when this bill invariably gets to the floor to continue exposing it to the American public. And I think the more the American public learn about this bill, the less they're going to like it. So with that, I will yield back, Mr. Chairman.
All right, we're going to break away from that House Rules Committee hearing that's going to be taking place here for a number of hours. It started overnight. Want to take you back into the Queen City where there is a groundbreaking ceremony taking place right now at the former Economy Inn site, that's Sugar Creek and I-85. It is one of the latest investments by the city's Corridors of Opportunity initiative. They're going to break ground here on another 39-unit affordable housing project. Let's go here live now on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
So that I can use it later on. Let us thank God for this opportunity. Eternal and everlasting God, we thank you, God, for this monumental vision, Lord. And we're going to claim victory on this day, Lord, as we come to break ground at Hoover Towns, that we are going to continue to go forth, and we're going to ask, Lord, in the name of Jesus, that this will be holy ground, that you would keep families from any hurt, harm, danger, or any problems that go along. And, oh God, that this would be a shining star within our community. We thank you for those who had the vision, the insight to be able to come together and partner to be able to do this. We also bless those who are going to be living here, and we're going to ask that you continue to keep them, direct them, and guide them. And let this be the star of our area. We pray this prayer in the Master's name of Jesus the Christ. And the people of God said, amen, amen, and amen.
Good morning, everyone. What an amazing morning it is. I am so excited to be here with you all today to, as the Reverend said, consecrate Hoovertowns and welcome you to a new beginning on this intersection of Tom Hunter and Reagan. My name is Dante Anderson. I am the Mayor Pro Tem for the City of Charlotte. I also represent District 1 in the City of Charlotte, and we are sitting in District 1 right now. I'm also a Charlotte native, born and raised, and I grew up on the other side of town with great glee and envy for those who grew up on this side right here in Hidden Valley Homes. I wanted my family to have one of the beautiful, beautiful homes here in Hidden Valley. I thought when I grew up that this would be a place that I would come, quite frankly, quite often and hang out. And so it's amazing that now that I'm on City Council that I represent this historic Black neighborhood. It is a joy to welcome you all to this exciting milestone, not only for Sugar Creek in Hidden Valley, but the entire city of Charlotte. Today we break ground on new affordable housing, a community rising from a site from a former economy inn. This development represents more than just new construction. It is a chance to create long-lasting legacy, a path to affordable home ownership. I want to underscore that fact, home ownership, and provide long-term stability for families and to open the door for generational wealth for years to come. Since 2020, the City of Charlotte has been focused on creating targeted investments in 6 communities throughout the City of Charlotte. We call it our Corridors of Opportunities program. And we've worked to strengthen the foundation of these neighborhoods through safety, economic development, transportation access, and community partnership. Today is a milestone in that particular journey for the Sugar Creek corridor. This development is helping us to reimagine what is possible for Hidden Valley and Sugar Creek. The I-85 corridor for too long has been an area that's been marked with disinvestment. But with this project and many other corridors of opportunity projects to come, we will continue to send a clear message to the community that this community matters and its future is worth building. Together with partners like Prosperity Alliance, True Homes, and Pinnacle Financial Partners, it always takes community. It can't just be one, it takes community. So through those partners, amen, we are transforming an underutilized space in a thriving community-oriented development that reflects the vision and the values of those who call this area home. In closing, I want to tell you a story. My sister-in-law and my brother have lived in this community for decades. They've been a homeowner for decades, raised my 2 twin nephews here. And one day, my phone rang and it was my sister-in-law. She doesn't keep up every single week of everything that goes on in council, but she's pretty tapped in. And she called me and she was right here at this intersection. And she was like, what's going on here? Because it had been leveled. And I told her what was going on. I said, hey, the city has bought this property. We are partnering with some community members to hopefully bring for sale affordable housing. And she literally burst out into tears on the phone with me. So excited from someone who has lived here and been a homeowner for decades, so excited to find out that something hopeful and something that is bright that can help the community move further was coming to this very ground. And that's what these projects mean. And so sometimes it's difficult for us to let go of things because we're fearful of change and fearful of what might come. And Ms. Parker, you know that when we were talking about this very project, there were some who were a little bit fearful of what might come or what might not happen. But we're here today on this red clay to celebrate a vision that you've had, that the community leaders have supported, and I'm so thrilled and excited for you, the individuals who live in this community and call this community home. This is amazing. Thank you. And with that, I'm going to introduce the leader of the Hidden Valley community, the amazing Ms. Marjorie Parker.
Good morning. First, I want to welcome you, and then I'll go into how we got here. Greetings on behalf of the Hidden Valley community, and greetings on behalf of the Hidden Valley Community Association Board. A board proudly made up of original Hidden Valley owners and our cherished second-generation residents, whom we affectionately call our Hidden Valley legacy builders. Nearly 50 years ago, my husband, our child, and I first visited Hidden Valley in search of a home. From that very first moment, 4 things left a profound impression on me. I felt safe, embraced by a sense of warmth and welcome, inspired by the charming fairy tale main streets, and touched deeply by the unique homes and their lovingly tended gardens. Hidden Valley wasn't just a neighborhood, it immediately felt like home. Today, we are reimagining and reconnecting with the original vision laid out by our community founder. He envisioned Hidden Valley as a beautiful suburban haven, nestled in lush greenery, and featuring enchanting gingerbread-style homes lining streets, whimsically named after beloved stories like Cinderella and Snow White. It was built as a nurturing space for rising middle-class families, a true storybook community filled with possibility. As we gather today, my heartfelt wish is that each of you, and especially the new residents of Hoovertown, experience that same genuine welcome, enduring safety, positive energy, and profound love that captured my heart decades ago. May Hidden Valley continue to be a place that nurtures, inspires, and warmly embraces you for many years to come. How did we get here? Today marks an incredible milestone for our community. A groundbreaking for new affordable townhomes for sale. A hopeful vision finally becoming reality right here at Tom Hunter and Reagan. As we gather, it's important we reflect honestly on the path that brought us here. This very land once held one of the worst motels in Charlotte, a part of a cluster of cheap motels that were intentionally placed near Hidden Valley. These motels displaced vulnerable families, attracted high crime rates, and burdened our community with challenges we neither chose nor deserved. Our community watched, felt the frustration, and asked, how did we get here? Yet frustration gave way to collective prayer, and prayer guided us toward hope. When I first met Aisha Sabur, then the community engagement manager for this corridor, she asked a simple yet powerful question. What do you want for this spot? I responded clearly, affordable townhomes, accessible for first-time home buyers, Homes that provide stability, dignity, and genuine opportunity for our families. Thanks to the tireless support of Aisha, Monica Holmes, and Dante Anderson, this vision gained momentum. With the encouragement of the Hidden Valley Community Association Board, I prepared and delivered our community's heartfelt appeal directly to City Council. Mayor Vala has heard our plea, Dante heard our plea, and Mayor Lyles acknowledged publicly that Hidden Valley's struggles were not of our own making, and Dante lobbied her constituents and urged the council to stand with Hidden Valley. Inspired, the council voted 6-3 to purchase the Economy Inn, clearing the way for today's groundbreaking. In partnership with Card of Opportunity, Aaron Gillespie, Prosperity Alliance, and community leaders like Sean and Marcus, we're finally witnessing our dream take root. This groundbreaking symbolizes much more than construction. It represents resilience, justice, and the unwavering belief that with determination, the right allies, and faith, true transformation is possible. I am Marjorie Parker, the president of the Hidden Valley Community Association. Thank you for your time.
Hey, good morning. I'm going to try to speak loudly here because we have a lot to celebrate. First, I want to... Closer? Got it. This is much more comfortable. So, thank you all for coming. Especially thank you to our city leadership, Mayor Pro Tem Anderson, Councilmember Graham, Councilmember Mayfield. I believe Councilmember Brown is joining us as well. These are some of our, biggest champions when it comes to keeping the corridor's vision alive and thriving across the city. This incredible milestone is something that is years in the making. So it is truly a city project that is unlike any other, the way that we have gotten to this point today. The corridors work began in 2020, where we were intentionally engaging and reaching out with the communities along these corridors to understand their vision. And we weren't just asking questions, although we were asking some good questions. We were working hand in hand to create and uplift that vision. So I brought the old school. This is our first 2020 design sprint report where the Hidden Valley and Sugar Creek neighborhood told us the interchange needs to change. Things are not working, and we have been working for years, decades, to get some kind of change happening. And our team, with the support from the city, we came together, built out that vision, and understood what the priorities were. And in 2022, we came back and worked through our playbook, our strategic plan for how the community should grow in line with the community's vision. And again, the community said, we need to prioritize safety, we need to prioritize housing, and we cannot use the ways and the methods and the tools that we have been using because they're not working. And it really is because we are using this. Should I step back? Okay. It really is because of, this corridors approach and framework that we have implemented that allowed us to really unlock an incredible amount of potential on this site. So that's how we started, that's how we got there, and that council vote that allowed us to purchase this property with the community vision in mind was really a day zero for some of us internally. So I just want to, take the time to really uplift that incredible work that we were doing internally. So we had folks, this was our most challenging environmental project. It was an incredibly challenging relocation project. All of these were challenges because we were intentionally centering dignity and inclusion, making sure that the folks who have lived here and who have lived in the community are also a part of that solution, and they're able to benefit, and very soon they'll be able to come back and unlock this incredible opportunity for home ownership. I also wanted to highlight some of the partners that really, once that clock started ticking on we own a hotel now, who really helped us get to the point where we had it ready for development. We had community leaders like Champion House of Care assisting us with some of our most challenging problems, but really leading the way. We had an incredible group of business owners who were organizing to really stand up the business community and make sure that, as we're developing housing, we're also developing the other parts of the community. We had folks, even an incredible partner for managing the property in Tony Jones. I know she's here somewhere today, where folks said, you can't manage that, it is unmanageable. We found a partner who was able to say, no, I can do it, and she tackled all of those issues. Internally, we had incredible partners in our, with the engineering, environmental remediation, housing, community engagement, really making sure that every step along the way we were in tune with what that community vision was, which was very clearly, we knew what that North Star was. And then, one of our largest partners who, have been uplifting this project from day one has been CMPD. And so safety and making sure we're providing that, we're working through community safety in ways that we hadn't before. So really understanding what the challenges and issues were, being there every step of the way, supporting all of our partners as they're carrying out all the different layers of this project. And so I definitely want to make sure that we're sharing our gratitude with the North Tryon Division. Their constant leadership and continual presence in the community really allows projects like this to take place. What does this mean? It means we're now at another day zero. We found incredible partners for developing out this project in Marcus and Sean. This was their one of their first forays into a corridors project and kind of understanding how all the pieces fit together. And I'm just so excited that we're able to continue this journey with you all here and in other corridors. They've also taken that baton of centering inclusivity and, dignity and community, and they've just kept on carrying it to really build this out. So I'm so thankful for you all. Thank you all for being here, and I'm going to hand it over to Prosperity Alliance, our incredible development partners who are going to bring this dream to reality here.
beautiful day it is to be here in the Hidden Valley community. I'm Marcus Cornegay with Prosperity Alliance, and I want to take you all back to May 14th, 2023. There was an article authored by Lisa Ward at WFAE titled, "Charlotte hopes tearing down an old motel will cut crime. The answer might not be so simple." Where the old motel, the Economy Inn, was described as a motel that functioned as housing of last resort for about a dozen people. A resident of a neighboring hotel stated in the article, "It really was like one of those last resorts before you actually end up living in a tent. Transit housing, lacking all the basic amenities, refrigerators, microwaves, air, that an individual family deserves." The article also highlighted.
Hi, everyone. Jane Monreal here with you. Just about 9:35 on Wednesday morning. We break away from that groundbreaking, a really good event there up in North Charlotte for one of the corridors of opportunity, latest investments in having affordable housing available there at Sugar Creek in I-85. Want to stay with our local news in Charlotte Metro and some more great news here. This is now in South Carolina and in Clover, particularly because it is the Clover High School Band that is preparing for this opportunity of a lifetime. They're marching in the prestigious Tournament of Roses Day Parade that will be happening January 1st. It is a remarkable achievement because it's really only the 7th school out of South Carolina to participate in this historic parade. We have the band director, Rick Langdale, joining us this morning. And congratulations, Rick. I mean, this has got to be a huge achievement for you and the group.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me today here in the studio. As you mentioned, this is only the 7th time that South Carolina has had a band to represent the state in Pasadena, California, and the last one was in 2003. And so it's been a little over 21 years, I think, by the time we'll get there. So it's pretty exciting.
Wow, we're looking at a picture right now of the announcement here. And so what was this like? How did this happen?
Well, it's really difficult to keep secrets. It's also really difficult to keep secrets in a small town like Clover. And so there were a few fibs that had to be told. Luckily, our band is used a lot in great ways to be present at different announcements and assemblies. So I just told the kids, hey, we have this thing that we're playing at. The school's getting an award. I really don't know anything else. And so we're going to go do this. But because it was kind of business as usual, the kids didn't really get anything. As we were setting up, a couple of the older students saw that there was a vase of roses and that we had little roses on our lapels. And so a couple of the kids said, I think this might be something for us.
Might be something extra
and so that was kind of
special.
cool. And we had a couple of really cool moments, and I had some staff up in the balcony to do some cannons of some rose petals, but we had some technical difficulties. They did not fire. So it was very funny. So we ended up having some really good bloopers, I guess would be the best way to describe it. But we also had some really good moments. And some of the kids also, just because we have a lot of newer students, didn't quite understand what it meant, and so once I kind of explained it, it was definitely exciting. And we had a video message from the president of the Tournament of Roses officially telling the students. When I was told on a live Zoom meeting, I was told that we made it to a next round of interviews, and so I needed to be available for an interview with the music committee.
Okay.
And they would ask me some follow-up questions to my application, which was great, because I was like, oh, we made a cut, so this is great. And I felt like that was positive, but I wasn't sure. And then they said, well, really, we only need to know one question. And the question was, can you bring your band to the Tournament of Roses?
Oh, my
So it
gosh,
was-
I just
and
got
of course, all
goosebumps.
that's on film. And so I'm like a mess, you know, my kids like tap dancing around in the kitchen, you know, so it's pretty cool.
That is very cool.
Yeah.
So how does this selection process work then? It sounds like you had to make several cuts to get to that point. And what do you think set the band apart from others?
So great questions. And any band can apply internationally or domestically, any age group, collegiate, high school like ours, or even like a multi-age group like from other countries or in the country. So there's an application process on their website, Tournament of Roses, and it's usually due around this time. In fact, I think it's due this week or maybe next week for the next year. So you apply in May for a year and a half out, almost 2 years out. And so we applied in May of last year. And it used to be a huge paper process where you get letters and pictures and things like that. Now everything is digitized, so I had to upload pictures of all of our uniforms, pictures of different parts of our uniforms, what that would look like. I had to have letters of recommendation from professional colleagues and mentors for the program, speaking on the behalf of me as a teacher, but also our organization. I had to have a letter from our superintendent and our principal saying that if selected, they're okay with us going. And then I also had some letters from community leaders. So I had a letter from Congressman Ralph Norman, who's our U.S. representative. We also had a letter from 2 State House representatives, Neil Collins from the Easley area, as well as Tommy Pope, who's the Speaker Pro Tem, who's one of the York County reps. So we had letters from them. And then, of course, different people vouching for us.
You're
as
applying for
quality.
like an Ivy League
Absolutely.
entry there.
It was definitely a who's who of trying to get letters and support. And so that's kind of part of the portal. The most important thing is the video. So there's a 6-minute max video, and they're very specific about what it's going to be. It has to be a minute of me talking, introducing me and the band. There's no more than 2 minutes of a competitive performance or a show of the band performing within the last 12 months. And then there had to be footage of the band in a parade. And then there had to be footage, and this is very specific to the Rose Parade, there had to be footage of the band taking a 105-degree turn. Because if you've ever watched the parade, as soon as you start the parade right there in front of the tournament house, you get to TV corner. Well, TV corner is when you turn onto Colorado Boulevard. That is a 105-degree angle turn, which is not a normal turn for a band.
Oh, wow.
And turns can be disastrous for bands. So they want to know that the band could turn and it not be a disaster, because it is covered by every news outlet.
Absolutely.
And if you miss, Hoda's right there on the corner, and so if you miss the turn, you could run into Hoda's tower or something like that. It should be horrible. So they want that too. And then there's a committee. There's, I think, 300 members of the Tournament of Roses organization, and then they have several committees for the different parts of their organization. There's a music committee, and so they have a movie night in the summer, and they sift through all of the applications, and so the committee members they eat popcorn and snacks, and they watch these videos, and then they kind of make their lists, and then kind of like the top however many gets submitted for kind of executive review by the president and his wife and the rest of the team, and they start selecting. And then we get notified. They try to notify us late summer, early fall, just so you have almost, a little over a year to fundraise.
Okay, wow, that is so extensive, and you're bringing around 300 students. That is going to cost a lot of money.
It is, and so to talk a little bit about the program and where we are, Clover, even though Clover is such a small little place, it is the best kept secret that's no longer really a secret as far as being in a smaller area, but having proximity to the Charlotte metro area, being close to Rock Hill and York and Fort Mill. We have the best of all the worlds. Like, we can be close to a large city. We have a lake that is right here. We have lots of, the life of living on the lake. We also have the ability to live on a farm and have farm animals. And so we have really a wonderful melding pot of students and backgrounds. And so right now, all roads lead to Clover, but we're a year out from opening our second high school in our school district. So it'll be Lake Wiley High School will be opening fall of 2026.
Okay.
And as well as opening another middle school and another elementary school. And so the band has not been less than 210 since I've been the director in the last 3 years. Every year we've gone up in size. And the history of this band program, we just celebrated our 75th anniversary last year. It started out as a very small 3A school, and it's kind of been in that area. So for us to be over 200 and every year a little bit more, we're anticipating somewhere in the 275 to 300 range as far as once we get all the students onboarded in the next few weeks for this coming year. And of course we want all the kids to go, but it is a cost factor.
Yeah.
We don't do just the parade. So we'll leave the Saturday after Christmas, and we'll spend about a week out in California. So we'll fly out. We have to send a semi-truck with our instruments and equipment. So we have to hire a hauler for that.
Yeah, a lot of logistics.
And
Hotel.
so we go out, and yeah, and of course all that's we have a travel company that's going to be handling a lot of that for us, or all that for us. And so one of the things that I really work hard to do with the students when we travel, and we just did Ireland in 2024. We were in St. Patrick's Day parade in Dublin. But I want the students not to worry, and the parents worry about their kids eating and some of the things. So they don't, once they pay their trip fee, they don't have any expenses while we're there. But we'll perform in Disney. We're going to get to perform in Disney on January the 2nd. There's going to be a private Disney event where after the park closes, us and a few other bands are going to be able to be in California's California Adventure, which is pretty cool. We've got a couple other performances that we're going to do kind of like friends and family with some other bands while we're out there, as well as the Tournament of Roses has what's called Band Fest, where they get the local college there in Pasadena they use their stadium, and so all the bands that are perform for each other and their fans, and so it's a really cool event.
You have a full schedule. That doesn't sound like a
absolutely.
winter break
Yeah.
when you go to
Well,
California.
I'm a firm believer in idle hands or the devil's playground. So
There you go.
any band trip, you want the kids to be so exhaused when they get back to the hotel, they're not up to anything.
There you go.
Yeah.
Very
And then
good.
there'll be some fun stuff. We're going to spend some time at Santa Monica Pier, so the kids will get to see the beach. We're going to go to Hollywood. We're going to get to go and experience some of the touristy stuff as well.
So, Rick, the question is, how much is this going to cost families, and a lot of families that won't be able to afford this, right?
Yeah, so great question. It is an all-inclusive trip, and so pricing-wise is going to be somewhere in the upper 3,000s, right around 4,000, upper 3,000, 4,000, depending
Per
on
student?
a couple things per
Okay.
student. So for us to go, it's going to be around $1 million, a little over $1 million
Okay.
with our students. So we're trying, if we can raise around $300,000 as an organization, then we can apply that to that, bottom line for the kids. That would pay for airfare. Airfare right now is somewhere between $800 to $1,000 per kid. So
Okay.
we could drop that down substantially and make it a little bit more affordable. We've had a few people reach out to say that they can sponsor one or two kids, either anonymously
good.
or kids that they know.
Right.
So that's an option too, like if someone in the community wants to do something like that. But we just recently did a golf tournament. We're going to be doing several other big events. We have on our website, cloverbands.com, there's a /Rose Parade. You can go on there. You can sponsor a mile with a penny a mile, $1 a mile, and
nice.
kind of get us there. It's about 2,400 miles from Clover High School to the Tournament of Roses house.
Yep.
And so there's a way you could do that. We're going to do some impromptu parades in the fall in Clover and try to do that.
Okay, so yeah, you're busy between now
Yeah.
and the parade, and then you have all the events once you get to Southern California. And so the golf tournament went well, it sounded like. You do have some other events coming up this summer, and then really the students are going to be at it again.
Yeah.
Little break after school ends, right? And then
Right.
back at it.
Yeah, so this is, a trip of a lifetime and an amazing opportunity for our students. But we also still do all the normal things. Like there's still high school kids. We're still going to be putting together our competitive show. In the last 3 years, or 2 of the last 3 years, we have been the bronze medalist in the top class in South Carolina, in 6A this past year, and then 5A the year before.
Wow.
So competitively, we're one of the best bands in the state and in the Southeast. one of the largest as well, which is exciting. And so we're still going to do all of the normal things. We'll play for our amazing football team, and Blue Eagle Nation will be the ambassadors and the guardians of the school spirit, be at the pep rallies, do all the normal things that normal bands do. But we're also going to be preparing for this 7-mile parade that's going to happen on New Year's Day. So that's the other thing. It is the most prestigious parade to get into.
Yes.
It is also the longest parade.
Yeah.
So it is something that we're going to be preparing for as far as, getting them used to. Like our Christmas parade in Clover is 1.2 miles, and there's no turn.
Right, one straight line.
Yeah, so this is a lot different as far as how we're going to prepare the kids. Luckily, Pasadena's weather in January is not much different than our weather most of the year.
That's true.
And so
Nice and
it's
dry.
cooler whenever it's, the sun's not out and it's a little bit warmer.
Well, the kids have got to be ecstatic. Saw
Yeah.
some of their faces, pictures of their faces when they learn of the news. Again, Rick, how can people help? This is such a big deal, not only for Clover High School, but really South Carolina, if not the Carolinas. So I know you're doing us proud. How can people help again?
So it is a huge thing, and whether you're a band person or not, the Rose Parade, this will be the 137th year of the Rose Parade, and it has such a rich history. And one of the really cool things about the Tournament of Roses is every part of the experience while that happens is just world class. And so once the bands are selected, the president of the organization, he and his spouse, or if it's a female, their spouse or whatever, they visit each band's town, and they come out and they kind of do a formal presentation to the organization, but also they help with fundraising. And so we were fortunate enough to have President Mark Levins and his wife Kay come in March and spend 4 days with us, or 5 days with us in Clover. And it was their first trip to the Carolinas, which was really great.
That's good.
And what's really cool is, and this has been around for quite some time, they just make themselves available. And so we can kind of like parade them around and show them what's amazing about our area, but also get them to help fundraise. So we had some events where we spoke to the Rotary, and we took them to our state capitol, and it was an aggressive ask, but we actually, during budget week, were able to get recognized on the floor by the speaker, which was really great. They did a House resolution, and so we took them on a tour of the Capitol, and we had some really great moments. We had some lunch with some congressional staffers, and what was really cool, though, is if you've ever been to Clover, it used to be known as a town with a one stoplight, but now we have at least, I think, 3 or 4 stoplights.
Oh, wow.
I know, we're up and coming.
Quadruple.
Yeah, but if you go to the town of Clover, or Clover proper, we actually, it's the intersection of 2 state highways. So when we want to stop traffic, you have to get state approval. So and so I jokingly, when I was coordinating this with the town, I said, well, we don't necessarily have to call it a road closure. What if it's a road slosure? Like, it just slows the traffic down. And so, of course, one of the town administrators was like, oh, I like that. Maybe we could try that. So we actually did shut down traffic, and we did an impromptu parade. And several businesses were open for some specific events that night whenever we kind of wrapped up, their visit, and which was really great. And we talked about how we can do some things, and the community is really coming behind us. Like the Carolina Chocolate Company, it's a wonderful chocolate company. They also have great ice cream that my daughter keeps them in business with. But they made chocolate roses, and so a portion of those profits are going to come back to the band. Another local boutique did custom shirts, and so profits come back to the band. And a restaurant said, we're going to do a dessert, and that's going to come back to the band. And so there's several things.
All adds up.
Our local educational foundation, Cloverleaf, they have donated $5,000 now to the efforts.
Okay.
And we have several other donors as well. So cloverbands.com/Rose Parade. You can see some information. My contact info is on there. We have opportunities to sponsor if you're a business, you want to do something bigger. We also want to be creative. Like if you want the band to come and appear at an event, do couple different things, that's a possibility.
Okay.
We want every student that wants to be able to go, and of course, this is a big financial commitment. But it's also a great way to show what's amazing about the Carolinas.
I mean, really, an experience of a lifetime for young kids involved in the arts and the travel and all that goes with it. So we wish you luck, and keep us in the loop and let us know where you are with things, Rick.
Absolutely.
And as we get closer to those dates, we'd love to revisit with you. You know, summer's going to be busy. Students are going to get onboarded. They're going to have 300 students. They got to raise a lot of money, friends. So let's show them our love. Clover High School band going to the Tournament of Roses parade in about 7 months, and they could use our support. Rick,
Absolutely.
we thank you for coming
Thank you
in,
for having me.
coming into the Live Impact studio here on WCNC Plus. Oh, wow, that was very exciting, everybody. We will keep them in our thoughts and wish them well. And again, we'll put all of the information on our website, WCNC.com, on what you need to know if you want to help support our local kids. Clover High School, 1 of 7, going to the most prestigious parade. All right, let's get back to business. Take it back out to Washington, D.C., where this GOP super bill, the spending bill, is in a House Rules Committee meeting. If we break away from this at any point, this is available in its entirety, in full, live as it happens, on our secondary channel on WCNC Plus. They met around 1 o'clock this morning. So this is a marathon meeting as the president and House Republicans are trying to get the president's agenda passed. They are up for a key vote this morning. So the last panel meeting here as they move closer to a floor vote. Let's go there live now on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.
Medicaid alone is on pace to outpace defense spending. That's
we'll spend it's going up from $700 billion out of $1.1 trillion under this bill.
That is not sustainable. And Mr. Chairman, what happens to the Medicaid population when we can no longer afford that level of spending?
Well, it's the fear when the interest on the debt just gets so big, it overcomes it all. And so I said to hospitals, a lot of hospital CEOs that I've talked to, yours and others, and I said, look, this is a beginning to bend the cost curve. This will be a much different conversation when we get to the point that we can't borrow money anymore because our debt's too high.
And
we need to have this conversation now because we can do things that's sustainable and can keep everybody operating. But we get to a point where we can't borrow anymore. It's a different conversation.
And we've been talking about safeguarding Medicaid for the people who need it most. You said it best. We are preventing the ineligible, the illegal, and the able from accessing benefits and taking dollars away from the very people who this program was designed to help. Pregnant women, children, the disabled, seniors. If we did nothing, would there be more or less money available to take care of the traditional population?
Well, if you think about it, if you're a state program and you get 90 cents, in my state you get 72.90, so 90 cents for one patient and 72 cents for the other, if the incentive is there, I don't think it was intentional, it was to get states to expand, but now the incentive is there to spend more, have more access and care for the higher reimbursement.
And finally, we are saving approximately $700 million in Medicaid over the 10-year window because of making sure people who are ineligible, illegal, and able are not accessing benefits designed for the people who need it
Able
most.
access them if they work, but
If they work, that's right. But we're saving money, but we're still increasing spending in Medicaid. So when Democrats say we're slashing Medicaid, we're still increasing our overall spend in Medicaid over the window. Is that correct?
From about $700 billion to $1.1 trillion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Thank you. Mr. Langworthy.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. A lot's been said here today. I would like to offer the opportunity for Chairman Thompson from my neighboring district to offer, in similar fashion, anything that he would like to rebut based on what's been said here today.
Oh, I thank my neighbor to the north for yielding some time. I just want to start out by saying, contrary to the disparaging remarks we've endured today, based on fear, not facts, the goal is not to hurt those struggling in poverty. The goal is to fulfill the purpose that is in law of the nutrition title. And the nutrition title, as of the FRA by the way, any of those who voted for the FRA were the ones that approved those benefits that we talked about for the homeless, those aging out of foster care, and veterans. You that voted for that were the ones that voted to have those expire in 2030. There was a question during some of the questioning of where that came from. So, but within the FRA, we obviously food security has always been a part of the nutrition title. Really important. But it has a dual purpose. It is officially codified and in law, and that is workforce development. That became a part of that purpose. And I would say we also, not in law, but my own personal perspective is we need to achieve sustainability of this critical program, and not to have cuts. And I've said all along, we've had that discussion in committee, and I read too often about cuts that are happening, and there are no cuts. The House Committee on Agriculture is leading efforts to restore integrity to the SNAP program, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. The committee's reforms ensure that SNAP works the way that Congress intended it to, going back to the 1970s. We're really proud of that program. It has been a program that has restored rungs on a ladder of opportunity for folks to be able to pull themselves out of poverty, while at the same time meeting their, providing supplemental nutritional assistance. And the goal is, and we do that in terms of the program integrity in areas by reinforcing work. Those who can work should. And there certainly are plenty of waivers and provisions so that to address kids, the reason that it's always been 6 years and younger as a waiver on their general work requirements is because it was recognized that if you had a preschool child at home, that you would have to be able to care for them. It also applies if you have someone in your house that is disabled, including maybe a parent that you have to provide care for. Always those exemptions are there. But by reinforcing work, rooting out waste, and instituting long overdue accountability incentives to control costs and end executive and state abuse and overreach. Because when the executive branch, and specifically the states, do things the wrong way, it is the SNAP participants, those individuals, those families are the ones that are hurt most. So the reason for this reform, it's intended to intent to supplement the food budget for low-income individuals. That's what SNAP is. The SNAP has ballooned in cost. Since 2019, SNAP rolls have increased by 17%, from 36 million in 2019 to 42 million. And a lot of that has occurred at the state level. And while the overall cost of the program has grown by 83%, ballooning from 60 billion to 110 billion annually, states do administer the program. They administer the program. There's a cost share for administration of the program, and the collectively, the states make $13 billion per year in erroneous payments, both overpayments and underpayments. And both of those hurt the beneficiaries, the people that we've been spending hours now talking about how do we help them. The national average error rate is 11.68%, and that has nearly doubled just since 2019. So what is the impact? Obviously, we all know what the impact is when it's an underpayment. That single-parent mom with 2 little babies the states are not providing sufficient assistance in putting money into their SNAP EBT card, and that's obvious how that hurts those families. But I will tell you that the overpayments, which there's more overpayments than underpayments based on the data, has even, I think, greater harm. If you're that single-parent mom with 2 little babies and the card gets charged, you're going to use whatever's on that card. And that's fine, because that's the benefits you were given. And when you go, and by the way, SNAP beneficiaries use an average of 2 to 3 forms of payment when they go. They're not using just SNAP. That's obviously supplemental to cash and to checks or debit cards. So how does the overpayment hurt them? Well, because the states will come back and claw that back. It may be 3, 4, 6 months later. Now, where is that single-parent mom with 2 little babies supposed to find that money at that point? That's where program integrity is so important. It protects, one of the things it does, it protects the beneficiary. It protects that single mom from that. And so the error rate by these states is completely unacceptable. And you know what? Why do they do it? Because there's no skin in the game. They don't have there's no accountability. They get the money, they execute the program, and if they don't do it right, which is with these error rates is a significant amount, I believe, Pennsylvania doesn't do it right. It's double digits. And there's a lot of Pennsylvanians that are hurt because of these error rates. And that's unacceptable. States have to do a better job. So what we provide is, we could have come in and just done a punishment, but we did a carrot and a stick. And we put it at just 5% cost share. But it's based on their error rates. And I happen to believe that looking over the past couple decades, every state can get their error rate down below to be at that 5% mark. Only 28% of able-bodied adults without dependents on SNAP have earned income from work. That's largely because of not because of the law that and the regulations that Congress passes and the executive branch writes, it's because of how it's poorly administered by the states. The USDA and states have intentionally limited enforcement of the SNAP work requirement for adult without dependent children, able-bodied adults, through waivers, leaving 40% of these work-ready individuals today under a waiver of the ABOD work requirement, and remaining on the SNAP rolls long after the 3-month time limit for compliance with the work requirement. So because of the SNAP benefit, unlike other entitlement benefits, is 100% funded by the federal government, there is minimal, I would say no incentive for states to control costs, to enhance efficiency, and improve outcomes for recipients. The gentlelady showed the Medicaid paperwork. That is not paperwork that comes, I don't believe comes from the federal government, because I know in the SNAP program, it is the states determine that bureaucracy. And there are problems with states that will take months in order to process those applications under the nutrition title. That's unacceptable, and that's why we need to hold states accountable. And I don't believe that no state out there is going to cut SNAP benefits. You heard about the passion for that assistance on both sides of the aisle and here. And so I think you're being pretty much unrealistic and disrespectful to our colleagues that work in state capitals to think that this program would be any less important to them. And we're talking 5%. That I believe that they can all get there. So with that, I thank the gentleman for yielding.
Mr. Langworthy, would you yield a moment? I think, Mr. Thompson, you brought up a very significant word in your comments, and that's integrity. And what we keep hearing on our side is we want integrity in these programs to save them. But integrity, and we're hearing that these are moral programs. Well, integrity is moral too. And we want integrity in the programs so that we can save them. And I think you've just outlined that extremely well. And it's a word we have not heard enough of in this debate here, and I think probably in the committees. because we keep hearing about cuts when we're talking about having integrity in the programs. So thank you, Mr. Langworthy.
If the gentleman from New York will yield just a few minutes.
Certainly.
You know, we did not roll back the daily amounts that these recipients receive. There was an increase when the market basket analysis was done at the direction of the 2018 Farm Bill. And again, I agree, it's only like $6 a day, something like that. That amount was not rolled back within this, nor are we preventing going forward adjustments based on inflation, because that is the current law. And so I think those corrections are really important to make, and I thank the gentleman from New York for yielding.
And I yield back to you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Griffith, you're recognized.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. You know, fake news, misinformation, it has long existed in human societies. And today we heard several folks reference Marie Antoinette and let them eat cake. She never uttered those words. As historians will tell you, there's no evidence that she ever said it. I understand the intent in which it was used, but she never said those words. In fact, the rumor, let me finish.
I just say you guys make Marie Antoinette look like she's down to earth.
No, not going there. But the rumor that she said those words started circulating in the streets of Paris a couple of weeks after her head had been severed by the guillotine. And as everybody knows, the brain only functions for 2 seconds. Scientific data done at the guillotine by French scientists showed the brain only functions for 2 seconds, 2 blinks of the eye subsequent to the head being severed. Misinformation is still out there, and sometimes it's both sides of the aisle that we start these stories or these rumors in the minds of people. And one of those that all of us have been guilty of is talking about work requirements related to this bill, because it's actually community engagement. So if you're going to school, as we've heard some testimony today, if you're engaged in your community in any way, going to school, getting a drug treatment program, it counts. Volunteering in your community for that 18.47 hours a week counts, or 80 hours. It doesn't have to all be done in a week. 80 hours over the course of the 4.33 weeks in a month counts. And so I heard, because we fall into that trap, I heard that, you know, how can you work when you need daycare? Well, you could be volunteering with the local daycare and count as community engagement. So we need to try to get the facts straight in this point in history, or else 200 years from now, they're going to be talking about work requirements when in fact it's community engagement. Just as we have heard today that Marie Antoinette said, let them eat cake, which she never did. Now, we have also heard other disparagements today which are not accurate. The gentleman from Missouri threw shade on the Energy and Commerce Committee earlier by saying that it didn't have great jurisdiction. Now, having heard some of this, I'm sure his opinion has changed. And knowing that in order for him to make final comments, he will need to be recognized by a member of the Energy and Commerce Committee, I'm sure his opinion has changed in the last few hours as we've been debating this. And I would now ask the gentleman from Missouri if he would like to correct any things that are misunderstood that have been said today or that somehow otherwise need correction, so the historical record will be complete.
I want to thank the gentleman from Virginia for yielding, asking that question, and also for serving on a fairly decent committee. So I appreciate the work that you all have been doing. You know, this bill is a bill for working Americans. I'm a product of the working class. Like I said earlier, I grew up most of my life in a single wide trailer, and then we upgraded to a double wide. My dad was one of those 199A employees that would benefit in this bill. He was the employee of one. He had a 2-car garage He was the best transmission overhaul mechanic that you could find. And I was the first in my family to ever graduate college. They were the first in their family to ever graduate from high school. And so the community that I represent, my hometown where I live today, is less than 5,000 people. The per capita income.
Just to let you know, here live on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus, we are about to go to a live press conference, the latest on the tornado aftermath in St. Louis. It looks like they are getting ready. So as soon as we see the Mayor, Kara Spencer, walk up to the microphone, we're going to go to that live right now. Let's go ahead and take that live and listen in here on Live Impact News on WCNC.
We will have Mayor Kara Spencer speak. Mayor Spencer is going to invite some other folks that are standing near her to speak. The mayor will then speak again to provide a detailed report on what was shared last night, and then she will answer questions in full today. Mayor Spencer.
Good morning. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Mitch. I know, given the announcement that we made last night, you all have a lot of questions about the sirens and the actions we're taking as a result of that. I will get to that. I want to hold those questions for me. I will handle all those, and I want to turn it over to some of the other elected officials who represent the affected area. I'm going to start with Alderwoman Tyus.
Good morning. Thank you for all being here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, first of all, I want to thank Mayor Spencer. She has been incredible from the time that it has happened. She has responded in the way that she is supposed to respond. My area, so much of my community was devastated. Reports of my house being demolished. That is not true. My fences are gone, but I'm safe. But there is nothing that I have asked of the mayor, and you guys know that if I'm not happy, I am not happy, and I let everybody know it. There is nothing that I have asked of this mayor that she has not done. She has gone above and beyond what is required of her. She's been in office 1 month. This is 100-year kind of things that happen, and she's responded. She's had Kings Highway cleaned in a matter of hours. Marcus, Euclid, electric down, Ameren. She's done everything she's supposed to. I want to talk about the sirens because I was there when the sirens were put there. So there's an unfair narrative going on about the sirens. The sirens were not put there to be indoors. They were there for people outdoors. And they put them behind every alderperson's house. So I still have one. And even having a siren, I sometimes can't hear in my house. So do we need to update? Yes. Is it this mayor's fault? No. If we're going to put blame someplace, let's talk about the prior administration who've been there for 4 years, and then Francis Slay 16 years. So if you're going to blame somebody, blame the right people because she's doing everything she can. I stand by her. I am proud to be here. I hardly show up for press conferences because I'm not that rude rah-rah person because I've been out in my community. I want to thank the fire chief. He saw me Sunday. I'm out talking to the people. We're having an event today at Cobrian's Presbyterian Church, which was demolished. But they're giving their parking lot, and we have people coming in serving 700 meals to the people in the neighborhood. You're all invited to come. I'm overwhelmed. I feel like just crying when I see what's happened. I'm so sorry for the couple, the man who lost his wife. That was one of my constituents. I hope the mayor will accompany me if I try to have a meeting with them. We care about every single person in the city of St. Louis. And Kara Spencer is doing her best to represent all of those people, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Good morning. I'm Laura Keys with the Elevated 11th Ward, and I just have to say that this has been a once in a, hopefully in my lifetime, experience. This is, I've said this before, this is our Katrina, and that's not to take anything away from what the people in Louisiana went through, and in some cases they're still going through it. So we know that this is going to be a very long road. It's not going to be weeks, it's not going to be months, it's going to be years before we can begin to bounce back. Within probably an hour of the storm, the mayor, Kara Spencer, called me herself And that is how all of the communication has been. She has called me herself. Most mornings by 7:30, she has been on my phone calling me, letting me know what resources are out there. We are devastated. We are hurting. My house is damaged. I'm in this thing with everybody else. We're all going through this. I am so proud of the way community came together. Just block after block, I saw neighbors coming out of their houses with shovels and brooms and sawzalls and chainsaws and cutting down trees and debris to get the stuff cleared so that emergency vehicles could make it through our streets for people who may have needed help. I'm so proud of all of the business owners and restaurant owners who are feeding our people. So proud of all of the churches and non-for-profit organizations. While I'm up here, I just want to make mention that Team Jesus made it into St. Louis yesterday evening at around 6 o'clock. They are able to feed 5,000 people per day. They are located on the parking lot at Marcus and Natural Bridge. Please get the word out that if people are needing food resources, here is another location that you can go to make sure that you have resources. Naturally, in the elevated 11th Ward, our O'Fallon Rec Center, Action St. Louis is there with a variety of other resources, personal hygiene, materials as well as food and all other things that are needed. Urban League, just tremendous. Tarps, wood. We were able to tarp, I think about 15 single-story houses yesterday because of the resources they were able to provide. But once again, everything that can be done has been done. Everything that we have called upon the administration to do for us, they have done so and done it quickly. And I can only be grateful. We've got a long road to go, and we've got to work together. I'm very disheartened to look at social media, and unfortunately I had to unfriend some people. I'm sorry. I can't deal with all of the negativity when there are people out here who are hurting. This needs to stop. Let's be about the work. Let's be about making sure that our people have what they need. I don't have time for all that other stuff. We've got work to do, and let's be about the work. Thank you.
Good morning. I'll keep it short. I just want to thank all my colleagues. As you can see, we have a nice amount of aldermen here, and I'll say this, we don't always agree down at the Board of Aldermen, but in this moment right now, we understand we have to be unified. I also want to thank our first responders. I want to thank our fire chief. I also want to thank our police chief. Our first responders have been out daily, making sure that people are safe. Like Alderwoman Taya said, we're dealing with a storm, a tornado that is probably a once in a generation, if not 2 generations. And it's just been so amazing to see people come together, to see alders supporting one another, but especially community that's come together. If it's been Action St. Louis or For the Culture, or if it's been individuals at the West Florissant Save-A-Lot, or if it's been the Urban League or the Red Cross, this shows how St. Louis is strong. St. Louis is resilient. And I just want to, again, thank community. Sometimes government can be slow, but community said we're not going to wait for government. People have been coming out, they've been cleaning sidewalks, they've been cutting trees, they've been connecting folks to resources, and I just want to commend the community and say thank you for the great work that they are doing, and to let folks know that we are unified, not only at the Board of Aldermen, we're unified in the city. I want to thank the mayor for all the great work that she's been doing. I want to thank the comptroller. We're in this together because we understand it's going to take months, if not years, to rebuild this city, and it's going to take all of us to put politics aside to make sure that we're standing lockstep, to make sure that the residents and the people in the elevated 11th and the 12th ward and the 13th ward and the 9th ward and the 10th ward, those residents get the resources, but ultimately be able to rebuild. And I just want to thank everybody for continuing to work together. Thank you.
Good morning. My area wasn't impacted, but I've been working with the older people that was. But I need people to understand social media is what social media is. So people need to verify the information. They're putting out that we're evicting people and we keep putting people out. We haven't even had time to get to that point. So the mayor has been going house to house, going to neighborhoods. She's been actually walking in the houses, seeing what people are dealing with. So I think we have shown as a city, no matter what our odds are, what our anger is with each other, we took all that energy and put it back in St. Louis. Because with St. Louis, we are a family. No matter who you are, where you come from, where you live, we still come together to show that we support each other. Now, probably after everything get okay, we'll go back to fight, but it's okay. We're going to take this energy right now, and we're going to put it in these neighborhoods to help these people where they need to go and make sure that we support our mayor because, as Alderwoman Tyus said, she's only been here 30 days, and she came blessed with a disaster. She didn't expect that. So we have to work together to make sure that she is lifted up so she can continue the work she's doing. Thank you all.
I want to thank everybody. I am Senator Carla May, representing the 4th District. Me and Senator Roberts, both districts have been impacted by this storm. We want to thank the Mayor, Kara Spencer, for her diligent work that she's been doing. And we want to thank all of these elected officials and the community and everybody, the police chief, the fire chief, all of these cooperatives that have been working together. We also want to thank, the governor and those individuals who came down to also lend a hand and see what we need. But we want to thank the community. And I think this is an opportunity for investment in an area that has been disinvested in. This is an opportunity to build it back better. And I'm hoping that we can come together to do that. And I'm hoping that you can help us spread that message. Let's build back better in North St. Louis, and let's make the city be a place that you can go in every corner of the city, and it be a blessing and not look like, a rundown war zone. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm State Representative Dell Taylor from the 84th District, just on the other side of Kings Highway. But really, the people of the 84th elected me to serve all of Missouri. So I've been out and really coordinating with volunteers. Number one, stay safe, be cognizant of your environment, but do what you can. I've been working with a number of volunteer organizations, picking up trash, picking up the green stuff. We've been working very, very closely with the Red Cross. The Red Cross has set up numerous emergency shelters. The Red Cross has been delivering supplies and food. We've been very thankful for our restaurants and different folks. And I also want to say thankful to my colleagues, other state reps. We had an individual that drove from Springfield, Missouri, State Rep Jeremy Dean, brought donated supplies from Cox Health and others. So if you want to volunteer, reach out to the American Red Cross, reach out to the City 211, reach out to your state reps themselves. Be safe, but start with your own street. Clean up your street, work with your neighbors. Your help is needed. It's going to take all of us some time to rebuild our city, but together we are making great progress. So with that, just again, a great word of thanks to everyone. If you want to help, you can help. I would encourage everyone, reach out to the Red Cross, reach out to your state reps and others to see where you can get involved. Thank you.
You're watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus at 10:30 right now. Out of Charlotte, we are listening to a live press conference on many of the city and state leaders of Missouri because of all of the damage from those tornadoes in St. Louis over the weekend, a deadly one at that. And the Mayor, Kara Spencer, definitely being praised for the work and the immediate response that she gave, and we're learning that she fired the Emergency Management Agency Commissioner Suspended, sorry, suspended the commissioner due to the outdoor warning sign that was not activated, and it was a human error for not activating that warning sign as soon as they should have. So as they deal with that press conference, also on the top right-hand side of your screen, I just want to get you caught up with the emergency meeting called by the Department of Homeland Security. They announced the deportation and detainment of several 8 violent criminals and deporting them out of Texas. So that announcement just made moments ago out of Texas. Bottom right-hand side of the screen is the overnight House Rules Committee continuing their conversation and debates on the big, beautiful bill. We do understand that a floor vote should be starting, they hope, in the next hour. So let's go ahead and continue to listen in here on the live press conference in Missouri, in St. Louis. We are waiting for the mayor to speak, but you're watching Live Impact News on WCNC+.
I'm asking everyone to be patient. We'll be
hoping to get through them. More than half of the city's child care centers have been impacted by this storm. Most of them reside in North City, and we've seen a coalition of child care advocates and providers come together to lead a restoration effort to support those centers and the families that rely on them for care every day. But we also have to recognize that these organizations are not acting alone. I've witnessed labor unions step up with supplies and labor. I want to give a huge shout out to everybody in our labor community who has really been out there since day one to help. We've seen small businesses step up, many who have even been impacted, step up and provide hot meals and beverages to folks on the ground. We've seen churches open their door to provide shelter, and residents from less affected neighborhoods like Power Creative collect donations and do daily shipments to make sure that all of that makes it north. But I want to be clear that these needs are not going to stop this weekend. They're not going to stop next weekend. They're not going to stop the weekend after that. We have people right now in our community who are sleeping in tents on their property. We have folks who won't go to shelter because they're afraid that if they leave their homes that they will not be able to come back. People in our community don't need just one-time help. They need sustained support from all of us. So I'm asking our corporate and philanthropic leaders in our region, many who have already stepped up and been providing a lot of aid, please help by sending non-perishable food, water, infant formula, diapers, board-up supplies like plywood, things that will ease the hardship and support the work of volunteer groups and individuals who have been out in the field constantly since Friday. I also want to acknowledge, like many have said today, that once things stabilize, we have to be ready for the next challenge. Not just by fixing roofs and repairing homes, but by rebuilding lives in entire neighborhoods. To that end, I remain committed to, I've gotten a lot of questions about this. I remain committed to what I've said from day one about RAMS funds. Residents have made clear previously that they want to see us invest in affordable housing, child care, infrastructure, real opportunities for historically disinvested neighborhoods. And we have to recognize that all of those needs that have been brought to us from community previously have skyrocketed since Friday. And so yes, we need federal support, we need state support, we need the city to make its own financial commitment to North St. Louis, and I know that that will be coming. But I also want to be clear that even if we spend every dime of RAMS settlement money in the north side, it is not going to be enough. We need our federal government to step in. We need, hopefully we will get FEMA here. But I'm also asking our corporate and philanthropic community to please be in this with us for the long term, because this is not something that the city can shoulder on our own. And in closing, I want to thank our city workers, our first responders who have worked around the clock since Friday to search every building, clear every street, and keep an eye on every single block. I can't imagine what the last 5 days have been like for you. I also want to make sure, once again, that I thank Mayor Spencer and her team for keeping residents informed. I mean, we speak several times a day, either directly with the mayor or with her team, to make sure that we can get accurate information out to the public. And like Alderwoman Boyd said, there's a lot of misinformation that is going around on social media, and unfortunately we see that happen around natural disasters. So be sure to vet where you are getting your information from. And I want to thank so many members of the Board of Aldermen for being boots on the ground. And finally, just to thank every organizer, volunteer, neighbor who opened their heart, their wallet, their home. Since Friday, you have shown us all what it looks like to come together as a community to show unity, and we are excited to show that unity here together and continue that as we rebuild St. Louis.
Okay. Thank you. Alderwoman Tyus made a good point. We should thank these guys right here that are working to restore power. Thank you. You're doing a great job. Thank you. I know you all. This is just an incredible. We all can see how we're coming together. And, you know, we often do fight. We can get back to that sometime soon, I'm sure. But we are acting in unison. It is important. I also want to recognize that there have been gaps. There will be gaps. Let us know where we're not hitting the mark. We want to be present. We want to do everything we can to support our communities. We're here. We're ready to continue the work. A couple of quick announcements that you know. This morning, FEMA is on the ground doing evaluations with us to ensure that we're moving that process forward. The National Guard came in yesterday to help us conduct the necessary evaluations to make those asks. We're moving forward with that. And we have a robust team that looks a lot bigger than what you see even here, that is back at police headquarters at SEMA, working around the clock to get the processes and the procedures and the response in place to be able to serve the community. I also know you all have a lot of questions regarding the sirens, okay? And I want to go through that before we take questions. As you all know from my press briefing yesterday, last night, that we placed our SEMA commissioner on leave, and we released the documents and the recordings related to the calls as they were related to the siren failure. Okay, this is pending the leave is pending a full investigation into the actions of our city emergency management agency on Friday. We know that there was a failure to sound the tornado alarms. After learning of the failure of the sirens, I immediately ordered an internal investigation. The initial focus was focused on correcting the immediate action to make sure that this didn't happen again. We did this by changing the siren protocol and clearly placing the responsibility to activating the sirens with the fire department. However, as that investigation continued, it became increasingly clear that there was not just one issue, there were multiple. I had directed my staff to initiate an external investigation to fully explore this and other potential issues. Friday afternoon, SEMA staff were at a workshop at 1520 Marketplace. They were not in SEMA headquarters, despite where the actual button is located, despite the weather issues that we knew were coming. This meant that our SEMA staff could not activate the button. When the warning was issued by the National Weather Service, the fire department was contacted by SEMA. At that point, there was a breakdown in communication. The directive to activate the sirens was not clear. This cannot happen when a tornado is ripping through our community. Our safety depends on clear and direct communication. We did release the auto recording to the public last night. Let me be clear, SEMA exists to alert the community when severe weather is coming. This office failed to do that in the most horrific and deadly storm that our city has experienced in my lifetime. We also know that our commissioner has served in goodwill, but we cannot move forward without providing accountability, ensuring that we have a robust emergency management system in place to provide confidence in the system that we have to ensure that our residents will be alerted in times of severe weather. Starting tonight, Captain John Walk with the fire department will lead SEMA, our local emergency management system, until a permanent commissioner is installed. Wednesday morning, an additional incident management response support team will be provided by the Metro West Fire Protection District Chief Michael Thiemann. Thiemann was a team manager of the Missouri Regency Incident Response Team during the 2022 floods, and he did an excellent job, and he'll do an excellent job for us here moving forward. Following the failure to activate the sirens, I signed an executive order Tuesday morning to overhaul the sign activation protocol. Under the new protocol, the fire department alone will be responsible for activating the siren. The siren system to be activated is at the primary activation point at the fire department headquarters, okay? Yesterday, you know that we issued a testing of the siren. At that point, we learned that there were further issues with that system. We took action immediately to fix those issues, and we now have somebody from the fire department located at SEMA 24 hours a day to push that button should we need it, while we ensure that the fire department can activate that system flawlessly moving forward. We will be conducting additional tests today at noon to ensure that the system is working. We know that testing the system is traumatic, and we wouldn't do it if we did not believe that it was absolutely necessary to ensure that our system is working well. To that end, I will take questions. I want to also offer questions to the rest of the folks standing behind me, but I want to be very clear that the system and its failures are my responsibility, and I will take all questions related to those issues.
How concerned are you, given what you've learned from these investigations, about where the activation system stands? Is there a disappointment? Is there more shock, stunned, both?
I'm a bit shocked and disappointed, but I also want to be clear that I am confident in what we have done over the last 48 hours to ensure that we can reliably activate the system should we need to. I have been shocked. I have been shocked, and I remain shocked, and frankly a bit horrified by the issues in the system, okay? But I am also very confident that we can activate the system when and if it's necessary in the coming days, weeks, months, years ahead. We also have a plan in place and funding that we had allocated a year and a half ago to automate this system.
So during that phone call, has anyone asked the other person on the other end of that phone call what they heard, if it was clear or unclear in this investigation?
I don't know what that person has indicated as a response, but what I will say is that it was not clear. It should have been crystal clear. A directive should have been made specifically to that person to sound the alarm. And it was not crystal clear. It's also clear to me that the button at the fire department was not working as it should have been. So regardless of that directive, that alarm system was not working in the way it should have been.
Can you speak about
And let me also just clarify that. testing of the fire system, the alarm system, falls under SEMA. Okay, and we need to, now that we are fully vetting and testing this with a robust system and a robust team that includes emergency management professionals from around the state to ensure that it does operate flawlessly. It did not operate flawlessly before.
We talked about that button not being pressed, Mayor. Can you tell us?
I promise I will answer all questions. Okay, I really will. I'm not going to go anywhere.
Was the fire department aware of its secondary responsibilities to sound the siren, and should the button at the fire department have been tested before yesterday? Because the protocol is actually that fire department is the primary, so why weren't they aware that their button wasn't working?
It's a great question, Rachel. I cannot speak to whether or not the fire department knew that the button didn't work. They should have been aware of that. We are taking every step possible to ensure that they are informed and know, and that the testing is conducted in a way that all parties involved in the protocol will know moving forward.
Post-dispatch?
Yes.
So, when Russell called the fire department, did the fire department push the button, or they didn't understand that they were supposed to, whoever the call?
It's my understanding that when Russell called the fire department, the direction was not clear. I listened to the recording. My takeaway was that the direction was not clear. It did not direct the person on the other end to press the fire button. And it's my understanding that the button was not pushed. It's also my understanding that had the button been pushed, it did not work the way it should have.
So the sirens didn't go off at all?
It's my understanding that the sirens did not go off as they should have.
Mayor, citywide.
It is my understanding that the sirens did not go off as they should have citywide.
Mayor, I've been out in the community, I've been talking to people, a lot of frustrated people, a lot of folks feeling a sense of hopelessness. When can they expect to hear from FEMA directly about their issues, and what message would you send to residents out there who are out of their homes who want to hear something? What do you tell those people?
What I will tell them, FEMA's on the ground right now, working with us to do evaluations. Bringing FEMA in, it's my understanding, is not going to be a quick process. We are doing everything in our power. I am confident that the state is doing everything in our power, and all elected officials at every level here are doing everything they can to make that process as quick as possible.
Cable X.
Was the fire department's button tested the day before the tornado on Thursday when the test was happening? Did the fire department, did they test their button as well when the sirens go off?
I want to make sure that that question is answered definitively, and it is part of our internal and external investigation. We will get an answer to that definitively. I don't want to speculate now. I do not know the answer definitively right now.
How long has that button been broken?
I also want to answer that question, and that will be part of our both internal and external investigation. I cannot answer it definitively, and the public deserves a definitive answer on that. We will get it.
Greg Inspector.
The recording doesn't necessarily make it clear that it was Russell. I mean, it was her, but did the person on the other end of the line know that was Commissioner Russell who was calling?
It's not clear to me from listening to the recording that that person knew who was calling either, as of right now. So I can't answer that definitively, and I haven't spoken to that person, nor has that person definitively addressed that question. But I think it's a good question, and we will look into answering it.
So when Russell says, so you've got the sirens, and she says yes, she doesn't know that she's hearing that from the commissioner of
I don't know the answer to that, and we should get an answer to that. I don't have it definitively right now.
Why was the senior commissioner out of the office? Why was the senior commissioner out of the office at a workshop when we knew that there were storms coming that day? We talked a lot about the buttons, but people are wanting to know why was that person out of position and not in position, to sound that alarm.
I don't know the answer to that other than what I have been told, that SEMA and their staff were conducting a workshop at 1520. As I mentioned in my press release, we knew there was weather coming. We should have been at the button. Okay? And I don't know why that decision was made. I don't agree with that decision.
Mayor, what do you say to the public? There are people asking, we didn't hear anything,
Yes.
as we've been talking. They're hurting, they're devastated, obviously, as we all are. How do you provide hope to these people who are literally, like you all have said, on social media, saying so many things? How do you provide hope to them when they feel like there is no hope?
What's clear to me in this investigation regarding our siren is not one thing. It's a host of things. It's like pulling back an onion. We have systemic failure across so many systems here. And we have a robust team that is unified in fixing this. We have our state, we have professionals from across the region who have descended upon our city, who are at police headquarters right now in the community, who are committed to fixing this. And I am confident, and I do have hope, and I do have confidence that we, as a unified city, are going to fix the systemic issues one by one, and we are going to make our emergency response work for our community, and we are going to respond to this calamity to address the needs of our community and to rebuild our city.
I know St. Charles County has the emergency operating system where they actually can remote the siren. And they require those individuals to be inside the building when a storm does come. Is that something that you all may consider, changing that?
We are considering that protocol. We are looking at best practices. We are also looking at automating this system so there is no human error that can take place.
Could additional personnel changes be made depending on the outcome of the investigation?
That's a personnel issue. I will say that as the result of our internal investigation, which has been fairly robust given the circumstances and that we are juggling the response and the investigation at the same time, I will say that I am confident in the team we have.
There is going to be an external investigation?
There is going to be an external investigation. We are still evaluating options on that, but an external investigation was part of this. Yes.
Hi, my name is Eric. I'm with you all had a meeting, right? And I know we're working with the media. Most of the media have scanners. The fire department have scanners. You had the actually we can tell you about the storms and everything. When it was 20 miles out, 40 miles out before it hit us, why wasn't somebody in the system or down around the budget? Why wasn't somebody in that meeting who had a scanner that could keep timing of it so that you all can respond as used to it? And also, I'm wondering why is the director getting paid leave when thousands of families are suffering and don't have housing? Why is the paid leave?
I'll speak to this last question first. That is a personnel procedure. It is a procedure that is required under city law. That is the procedure that we were advised that we have to take as a matter of personnel. Regarding why that robust system wasn't in place, I will say that we have taken every step to ensure that that never happens again. I agree with you that that should have not been the case, and I share your horror, and I can't feel your pain, but I am taking every step to ensure that it never happens again.
And I hope somebody, like you said, police, they have scanners, fire department, they have scanners. You got the SEMA, they should have had scanners since they couldn't be there. Now you understand, you test the things right the day before, and
yes.
So something I'm saying something would have said, okay, let me have what I need with me. I can't be by the button to tell whoever's supposed to be sitting there by the button to push that button at the time, because I was riding in the storm.
Yes.
And so I didn't hear nothing. I'm like,
yes.
Why? Well, I heard it yesterday, the day before, so why am I not here today? So somebody should have a scanner and put you on at all times, no matter if the fire department has what they need.
Yes.
The media is telling you every day, all day about the weather. It should be breaking news. That's all.
Yeah, I agree with you. And what we are continuing to fully investigate this and outline exactly what we're going to do, and we will share that with the public to ensure you that it is a robust system in place.
Big picture in New York City, think Bree addressed it in general about the ramp money, about repairs. Driving through and seeing the extensive amount of damage, are you confident that
Yes.
that it can be fixed? I mean, is there a path forward, do you think, for North City with all of the damage that's there? People like myself and many others who have been here for a long time, this is bad.
It is bad.
What? Is there a path forward?
There is a path forward, and we are going to do everything humanly possible to make sure that we are rebuilding North St. Louis. I also want to point out there's areas of West St. Louis that were also very badly impacted here, okay? And our city has experienced a once-in-a-lifetime generational damage, and we are going to do everything we can to rebuild.
And Mayor, we've been seeing death threats. We've been seeing death threats circulating online as it relates to Commissioner Sarah Russell. How are you responding to that type of negativity as it relates to her identity? People are specifically calling for death threats as it relates to her identity. What's your response to that?
That is inappropriate and horrifying. Commissioner,
People are innocent until proven guilty.
And
we have to treat people like that.
Look, our commissioner is a human being, and I'm asking for some grace. And I also recognize that her job, her role, is the role of the SEMA director is to protect the lives of all of our community. And it is an important role, and we all need to be held accountable. I have an important role, and if I fail, I want to be held accountable, okay? But I'm also asking for grace.
Anytime we have something like this, death threats against a citizen and or an official, we have our intelligence division. We follow up on that. We make sure we do a proper investigation, see where it's coming from, because that's not acceptable. And we will follow that with the full extent of the law to make threats like that against any citizen, against a public official, and against someone that was doing their job. So we're going to make sure we follow up on. We take that very seriously. So we can't talk about these investigations but we are following up on with real question. Absolutely.
Mayor, sometimes we often forget we're all human.
Yes.
And we often ask you a lot of questions about the pressure that the people are putting on you. But Mayor, I want to take a moment. It's been since Friday. How do you feel? And I know it's probably it's a lot, but I personally, this is your city too.
It is my city. It is our city.
You work here, you live here. I want to hear from you.
I think some of you might have, this is emotional. I am finding strength in community. I am finding strength in all of the work that is being done by the community, for the community, with the community here. And I'm feeling, I have been so grateful to be invited into people's homes, to see the trauma that this has caused. And I can tell you that at the same time we are taking moments to feel, we are also hard at work, and we will remain hard at work until we rebuild our community. Thank you for asking. It's not just me. All of us are holding this. All of us are holding this. And the weight that I feel is nothing compared to a family that has lost their home, that has lost a loved one.
You are watching Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. If you'd like to continue watching this live press conference from St. Louis and the mayor there, we will have that on the secondary channel on WCNC Plus, as well as the House Rules Committee hearing that is continuing. They hope to get a vote back to the GOP floor by tonight on passing President Trump's bill. In the meantime, we'll leave you with the press conference in St. Louis. Otherwise, Charlotte Today is up next. Have a great day.
Were damaged. We also have concerns about what sirens were activated. We have taken immediate actions to address layers of systemic issues within that emergency response or emergency alert system.
Mayor, what is the message that you have for citizens who are feeling a sense of hopelessness right now?
As I mentioned earlier, Elliot, we are working together, and the response that you saw starting on Friday at 3:30 p.m. with the fire department out, the police department, all departments out clearing roads, ensuring safety of our community. I want to say the fear of looting, the overwhelming protection that the community exerted upon itself to protect each other, their neighbors, the amount of coming together that has just across all boards, Elliot, it's been tremendous, and I do have confidence moving forward we can continue this, but I also want to reiterate that we have got to continue to work together. We are all in the midst of trauma. This is a very traumatic event, and as we move forward, and we are still in shock, the weight of this is yet to bear down on us as a community, and the work is just beginning.
Do you have any?
I want to get some clarity on
state development in order to get transportation for parents to get their
Thank you.
kids to school, and also people to get to jobs, because there's a whole lot of cars that got damaged out there.
Yes.
And some people can have that transportation. So how do you work with state development to make sure they can have some kind of park?
This is an excellent question, especially because some of the signals are down. People don't know how to transport safely. We are working with the director of Bi-State. We will continue. We'll have a more robust communication on that, hopefully today, if not today, very soon, because as you mentioned, the fact that your car is completely damaged, completely destroyed, these are not issues that are going to end today or tomorrow or anytime soon. So we are working with Bi-State. We will have more information on that very, very soon.
Do you have any updates in terms of?
clarify the notices to people who are in the buildings? I saw on Facebook last night that you're not condemning them, you're not forcing people out.
That's right.
But I've seen letters from property management companies that are saying if you have a red tag on your building, you can't even get in to get your belongings. What is the status there? Can people be in their buildings? Are you condemning buildings?
We are not punishing anybody for entering their property, okay? And we want to make very clear, the reason we are out there, the building division is out there identifying and evaluating buildings for safety. And this is important for a couple different reasons, one of which is just the safety of our community. It is not clear to the general public, myself or a non-professional, to understand whether the structural damage to a property is one that's going to make the building unsafe or unstable to enter. So our building division, those professionals are out there to evaluate. We're also doing those evaluations to enumerate the physical and the financial damage to these structures. That's a critically important piece of that FEMA hopeful declaration. So there's multiple layers here, but the purpose is not to punish people, residents, tenants, or property owners at this point. That it is purely informative, and that those color codes are designed to help deliver that message to the public.
Can building owners legally force someone out of a building or legally tell them do not enter, do not occupy right now?
Rachel, that is a good question. I don't have a definitive answer to that, but we will work on getting that today for you.
And do you have any updates as it relates to dumpsters? We're hearing from residents on the north side and the west side that there's a lack of dumpsters out. We know that you posted on social media about that. Just wanting to know if there's any progress on that.
Yes. Right now, all of the priority for dumpsters has been on tree removal so that we could clear the roads and the alleys to be passed. We also know that now we are moving into warmer weather and that human waste, refuse is needed to get removed from the system, and we are pivoting to try to make sure that we have paths of getting those dumpsters in place and removing garbage from the area. We had to make sure that the alleys were passable for the refuse workers and for the refuse trucks, but we are pivoting, and we do understand that that's a critical need as of right now, and we are focusing on that.
So the 10 to 20 million that you mentioned yesterday in local aid, the 10 to 20 million you mentioned yesterday in local aid from ARPA money, I don't know if that's Rams money maybe, but where does that plan stand and what could it be used for?
That is a little bit of a longer range plan. What I was speaking to yesterday on local money, that is specifically ARPA money that can be pivoted under those federal guidelines, I should say potentially can be pivoted pending a legal review to be applied to the tornado relief. The plan for that has not been flushed out, but we have identified what we believe to be potential ARPA funds that can be pivoted to address housing and urgent immediate needs as it relates to the tornado response.
Is your system prepared? Is the city or the alderman, is the fire department, police department prepared for another major tornado that might just come through any time now? Are they prepared?
Yes, ma'am.
So how?
Because we have taken our team and we have brought in partners from across the state, across the region. I have never seen such a robust system in our city right now. We have it. If we have another calamity, we are ready. nobody can be ready to protect everybody from a natural disaster, but we are as ready as we can be. And I do have confidence in the team we have in place that we are ready to pivot and we are ready to react if necessary.
So as a community, how can we be ready? How can the citizens be ready? Knowing that everybody, like you said, is human, we don't have so many people
Yes.
that can't prepare, that's or whatever.
I would say take personal precaution. What we are most concerned about right now is the stability of buildings that have lost their roofs, lost their sides, lost structural components. Take caution. We are getting the building division and other inspectors out there as quickly as possible to help educate residents on how stable or how unstable their buildings are. Do take that information seriously and use precaution, not just for residents, but volunteers that are coming out to help. We want to make sure that the public has the information they need to best conduct their business to ensure the safety and well-being of themselves and the folks involved in the recovery.
There will be time for more questions later. Are there any other immediate questions that folks need to have answered right now?
If you just have questions for me, I will answer all your questions, but I do want to give some respect to the rest of folks who are standing out here in the sun. I'm not going anywhere, but if you have any other questions for folks here, maybe now would be the time. We'll take a quick break. I'm not going anywhere. I will continue to answer questions.
Mayor, if you don't mind, I just want to reiterate, and if you guys could help reinforce that we will be, as the mayor mentioned, testing the outdoor warning siren system at noon today. Make sure your folks know and make sure, help us get the word out on that. We are utilizing Notify STL and social media, but that's just to make sure that as we've made adjustments yesterday to that activation point, that it's going to be fully functional if we need it again. Thank you guys, and we'll let you know about the next media availability.
Thank you all.
Can I answer one question about how citizens can be involved? You see this thing that's in our hand? I was at a luncheon when this thing happened, okay? 100 phones went off at the same time. You can sign up for the weather alerts. So that when you do that, then you don't have to depend on the outside noise or the outside speakers. So I would just say, sign up for the weather alerts. I know that won't cover everything. You gotta have a multitude of different ways that you notify people. So a siren is only one of them. But more and more, almost everybody, even our grandmothers, have cell phones as a way to be notified.
Notify STL.
Notify STL. If you do that, that will help a great amount of people. I'm gonna post it, and I would say you share that with everybody, okay? That's a way to be notified.
I can stand here and answer more questions.
Yeah, we're done.
So people are okay, and I'm already posting. I said you keep posting blast. I'm just gonna out here and say all the stuff why anybody's fault and it's not working. It's the previous administration. Nobody can have anything like that in a month, okay? And I've been there since 1991. We have never tested the fire department.
Give this to Elliot Davis. Give that to Elliot Davis.
That's how you smart.
Get the beret on.
No, we did.
He's way over there by the truck.
Thank you, thank you.
I got it. No, I do. Yeah, thank you. They gave me that. Appreciate you. Thank you.
I do want to ask the mayor one more question.
Okay, let me get everybody's mic up here because they all want them.
And it wasn't.
I know. See each other every day, and then for like a month. Oh, the Hulk, man. Somebody's phone. Oh, that's on there, okay.
But I'm saying that this is the best way, because this will get to everybody. Because when I was in that place, 100 phones went off, and we all got up and said, "Ooh, got to go." Right, that was the first day.